Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Today we're going to continue with the inspiring story of Bravo Manju by Segun Srivatsap. Before we move on to part 2, we will have a quick recap of part 1. Manjula Parlekar was a differently able child having claw-like fingers that were malformed. Other parts of her body were also deformed. She loved to draw and expected she could paint well. She received support at the beginning where her mother, father and brother presented painting materials and thus encouraged her, and Manjula's happiness knew no bounds. But when she asked for drawing materials again, her father, thinking that painting was waste of time and useless, and believed that Manju with those hands cannot become an artist, and suggested to learn cooking or stitching, which might be useful for Manju. Manjula's mother showed her disappointment for his statement, and Manjula, who heard the conversation between her parents that night, was so disappointed and decided to give up painting forever. In spite of all these, does Manjula overcome her fears and fight her own battle? Let's find out in part 2. So we paused in part 1 where Manjula was ready to help her mother in the kitchen the next morning and also declared that she was through with the art. Both her mother and brother were shocked on hearing Manjula, but they were proud of her talents. But her father wanted her to learn cooking or stitching instead. So thereafter she obeyed her father and gave up painting, but soon was notified of a drawing competition. Her confidence soared up when she read an article about the differently abled achiever, Richard Belanger, who lost his feet in a train accident. In spite of that, Richard, with his artificial feet, played football and proved the world about his unique talent. Taking him as an inspiration, Manjula decided to break her barriers and take up the drawing competition. Both her mother and brother were surprised from seeing Manjula's change of mind the next day and were so happy for her. Thus, she took a first step with a great confidence, smile, and a happy heart. Now we'll move on to the lesson. Manjula, her mother voice reached her from far away. Will you give me a hand? Your papa is going to Mumbai next week. I have to take out his suit from the trunk. Manjula helped her mother take down the steel trunk. Mrs. Parlekar opened it, then shut it again. She turned to Manju decisively. Manju, I would like to talk to you. I So once she said that she was done with the painting, Manjula was so much disappointed thereafter. Later that day, Manjula's mother called her to help to reach out for father's trunk, where, for he is leaving to Mumbai the next week and so needed his suit, which is in the trunk. So Manjula did help the mother to take down the steel trunk. Using this as an opportunity, Manjula's mother decided to talk with the daughter and make her understand and believe in her dream, so that and also to make her to fight back for her rights. Mother, please, interrupted the girl, her dark eyes burning. Don't. Mrs. Parlekar gripped her daughter firmly by the shoulders and looked her straight into the eye. Her voice firm with determination, she said, don't give in, Manju. There is so much in you that other girls don't have. Let it come up, even if you have to fight. Fight, Manju, fight. But before her mother completes, Manjula stopped her in between. Manjula became furious with anger and was not ready to listen to her mother's words. Then her mother gripped Manjula's shoulder firmly, looked straight into her eye, and said, don't give in, Manju. Her mother also tried to make her understand that she is unique from other girls and encouraged her not to give up her passion and asked her to fight for it. So Manjula's throat was thick with tears. She turned away from her mother and dashed to her room, flinging herself on the bed and burying her face in the pillow. When at last she sat up, her eyes fell on a newspaper cutting on the table. Strange, she thought. I didn't keep it there. Puzzled, she picked it up and read, playing football with artificial feet? The bold heading screamed at her. So on hearing from her mother, Manjula became so emotional and her throat was thick with tears. She couldn't able to control her tears and turned away from her mother and dashed to her room. Throwing herself on the bed, she burst out into tears by burying her face in the pillow. After some time, when she sat up, her eyes fell on a newspaper cutting which was on the table. Wondering how that came into her room, she reached for it and read the bold heading newspaper which screamed at her, playing football with artificial feet, and she continued to read the article. In New Hampshire, she read on, Richard Belanger, who had lost his feet in a train accident, decided to play football with artificial feet. His coach thought it was ridiculous. His parents did not like it, but Belanger stuck to it and made it to the Nashua team as the defender. Manjula dropped the clipping. What a brave boy, she thought. He didn't give up. He played on despite what other people said. Perhaps her mother was right. So the inspiring article was all about Richard Belanger from New Hampshire, who had lost his feet in a train accident. But that didn't stop him there. He decided to play football or soccer with his artificial feet, but he didn't get any encouragement from his coach, who thought the idea was ridiculous, and his parents did not like the idea too. But Belanger was so firm with his determination and with the decision that made him to the Nashua team as the defender. After reading the article, Manjula dropped the newspaper clipping and admired him. She also thought, if he can play without any encouragement, of course she can too. So Manjula's mother was right about her. She had to fight on like Richard Belanger. Manjula walked over to her cupboard, hunted through the pile of clothes, and pulled out her colors and brushes. On the day of the on the spot painting competition, shortly after breakfast, her brother said, I'm off, Mom. Ratan and I are helping at the entrance gate. They are expecting a big crowd. Turning to Manjula, he said casually, Pity you're not coming. I'm sure you would have won a prize. I might still win one, Manjula replied as casually as she could. So, so she decided to fight like Richard Belanger, no matter what. She then walked over to her cupboard and hunted for her drawing materials through the pile of clothes and pulled out her colors and brushes. The day arrived for the spot painting competition. As it was a big event, a huge crowd was expected at the school. So Amol and his friend Ratan were helping at the entrance gate, so he wanted to leave early. So he bid bye to his mother and felt sorry for Manjula, who wasn't participating and was sure she would have first won a first prize like if she had participated. Manjula gave a surprising shock to them, and that she still can win the competition in a very casual manner. Manju, does that mean you are participating? Amul jumped up and hugged Manjula. I knew you would do it, so I was sure you wouldn't give in. So Manjula freed her hands and answered softly, if Richard Belanger could do it, why not Manjula Palekar? Her mother looked at her. A broad smile spread over his face. Richard Belanger? Mrs. Palekar asked, surprised. Who's Richard Belanger? Richard Belanger, spoke Manjula and her brother together, plays football with artificial feet. Isn't that something? So Amol jumped up and hugged Manjula in happiness. When Amol said that he knew she would take part, she replied, if Richard Belanger would do it, and why not Manjula Palekar? Amol and Manjula shared a secret smile which puzzled their mother, and she came to know about the boy who played football with his artificial feet later. So finally, Manjula stood steady and started to fight her battle with a little motivation from her brother. And these are some vocabulary from the lesson, and that is the end of the prose. Bravo, Manju. Thank you.